Welcome to another special end of the year rankings video, and as you can see by the thumbnail, in this particular video I'm going to be ranking all the horror slash thrillers that I watched in 2024, from my least favorite to my favorite. And I could have done a top 10 ranking, but what's the fun in that? That's kind of lazy. So I'm going to be ranking all 36 horrors slash thrillers that I watched. I'll put the list of the ranking in alphabetical order, that way it doesn't spoil my placement, in the description, so you can refer to that right now, or you can stop the video and look at what I'm going to be talking about, however you want to do it. I'll also have my Instagram link as well as my Letterboxd link. If you want to follow me on any of those platforms, go ahead and do so. I'll follow you back, unless of course you don't want me to. So just know that the list that I'll be talking about, all 36 titles, will be in the description. And there's a few things that I want to cover. There are some of these titles that were actually decent, or maybe not quite decent, but could have been, that I didn't get a chance to rewatch for whatever reason, that upon a rewatch, my placement may change. Two of them specifically, which I'll mention once I get to those films that upon a rewatch, my opinion could change. And obviously, this video is all my opinion. We're going to have different opinions. We're going to disagree. Just know that, so make sure you leave your ranking of whatever you've seen in the comment section. And then, of course, I say this in every video, and I say it twice. If you're a fan of ranking videos, if you like end-of-the-year ranking videos, if you like physical media, and you want to help me out with the YouTube algorithm, please consider Hulk smashing the like button. Share this video with a friend. Put this video on any one of your social media platforms. Don't forget to sound off in the comment section about what your thoughts are on my ranking for my 2024 horror slash thrillers. Any surprises? I know there's a few that you're going to be mad about. It's just my opinion. Come back to this channel on New Year's Eve for my ranking of every single film that I watched that came out in 2024. That will be aired on New Year's Eve for sure. And then on New Year's Day, my entire 4K Blu-ray and DVD movies physical media collection will be aired. It's going to be under 4 hours, but hey, if you have the time, if you want to watch it in like 10 different ways or 10 different times, do that. But just know those are two videos to look forward to. And of course, I'll also do my upcoming TV shows that I want to see in 2025 and my upcoming movies that I want to see in 2025. Those would be the first week of 2025. So, and then last but certainly not least, don't forget to hit that sub button. You're watching the video anyway. Subscribe to the channel, join the team, show your damn support, and be a part of something special. And you never know what you're going to see on JDev TV. Alright, get ready. It's time to rank 36 horror slash thrillers from 2024. And I guess I should mention with some of these, I'm not going to talk much about them because I don't remember much about it, or I just didn't like it. So in dead last for me, coming in 36th place, is going to be Imaginary. You have a stepmom at points sees hallucinations. You have an evil teddy bear named Chauncey. You have a stepmom trying to connect with her stepdaughter, and I didn't like it. Now, I had higher expectations for this film because it was coming out in March. Typically, the duds for the year for horror come out in January, but this was a March release. But unfortunately, it should have come out in January. It wasn't very good. If you like this film, great. I'm glad that you liked it, but I didn't like it at all. I just sat there like, what's the point of this? So, Imaginary, dead last, 36th place for me. In 35th place, not much better, Tarot. You have, I don't remember specifically if it was high school students, young adults, or a combination of both, reading tarot cards, and then they start getting off to essentially Final Destination style. While the film looked good, I guess, yeah, I didn't see a point to it. It was dull and boring. I did like the character, or the kid that played Ned in the Spider-Man movies, Jacob Batalon. He was good, although some people will complain about his character, and I get it. But I liked his character, but that was like the only thing I liked, other than the fact that I thought it looked good. But it's not very memorable, and that's why Tarot is 35th for me. Coming in 34th place, a film that I actually had like some hope for, but I was let down. Was Y2K. You have the events of New Year's Eve of 1999 going into the year 2000, where instead of things being fine, shit goes crazy. Now, I must mention that for the first half an hour of this film, I dozed off 3 or 4 times at least. So that's a problem when I can't stay awake when I got enough sleep. It's not like I was exhausted going into the film. So that was a big issue for me watching it. I did like some of the male characters that show up in the mid to late portion of the movie. That was a plus. You also had the controversy with the main actress, Rachel Zegler, going into it, the things she said about Trump supporters. Obviously, I don't appreciate her words, and not many do. I don't feel like she was a negative in the movie, but just it didn't work for me. It was boring, bland. Initially, starting out it's the fact that I couldn't keep my eyes open. I was thinking, wow, I didn't think anything could be as worse as Imaginary. But unfortunately, it did get better, but not much better. That's why Y2K is going to be in 34th place. Coming in 33rd place for me, we did get a dud in January. The first movie, I believe, that I saw in 2024 is going to be Night Swim. You got, instead of a haunted house, you have a haunted swimming pool. And that's as much as I remember about Night Swim. I thought it looked good, but that was it. Just boring, dumb, and I was really, really, really happy once it ended so I could go home. So that's why Night Swim is in 33rd place. Coming in 32nd place, and this is one that some will put higher. I'm going into this film not knowing as much about it as other people did, but in 32nd place for me is going to be Azrael. This is a film with literally not much dialogue at all, other than like 2 lines with Samara Weaving. Her facial expressions and her acting is great, but without any dialogue, it doesn't work for me. It's like, there's like a apocalypse, and now these cavemen type people, that's not exactly correct, but that's how I'm explaining it, are kind of like running society. I don't know. It's a weird movie. Unfortunately, I just didn't get into it due to the fact that there's no dialogue. I can't remember. I think I knew that going into it, but I thought it was going to be better and more interesting, and it just wasn't. So, unfortunately, Azrael is in 33rd or 32nd place for me. Coming in 31st place for me is going to be Daddy's Hand. I don't remember like a lot of the premise. I did watch it more recently. I just didn't like it. I felt like I wasted the hour to 2 hours that I watched it. So Daddy's Hand comes in 31st place for me. All right, here's the first point in this ranking where I think I might get canceled. Maybe not, though. I know some people hold this film in high regard. I didn't. And my number 30 is going to be Cuckoo. Do I remember much about it? No. I just remember it takes place in Europe, and I typically don't like films that take place in Europe. It's a dumb explanation, but it lost me at times. Dan Stevens is in it, but I don't know. Maybe upon a rewatch, I would like it more, but I don't know. Like, I was very tired and bored watching it the first time, so unfortunately, Cuckoo is in 30th place for me. Here's another one where a lot of you will be upset with my placement, and I get it. My number 29 is going to be A Quiet Place Day 1. Let me explain. I feel like this was a different movie at one point, and then let's make this a Quiet Place movie. Basically, it shows the events of A Quiet Place with different characters, so we don't get John Krasinski or Emily Blunt from this start of all these monsters coming on Earth. And I don't know, like, it just didn't interest me. I'd rather watch the other Quiet Place movies, especially the first one, so that's why A Quiet Place Day One is my number 29. Coming in 28th place, and this is one of them that if I rewatch, I think my placement might change, and it's Arcadian. This is a Nicolas Cage movie, basically like Quiet Place. I would, of course, rather watch the original Quiet Place movie with Emily Blunt and John Krasinski, but I feel like this had potential. I saw it by myself. I was the only person in the theater. I stayed awake for the whole film. I just don't know, like, maybe if I watched it again, my score would go up a half a star. I think I gave it a 2.5 or 2 out of 5, so it just depends. But Arcadian is my number 28. Number 27 for me is going to be In a Violent Nature. This is essentially like the very first Friday the 13th movie. From the killer's point of view, most of the movie, instead of it being a female, it's a male, and he's like Jason Voorhees. He's brutal, he's badass, but it is very slow. We get to see him walk a lot through the woods. I knew that going into it, so I liked it a little bit more because I was already prepared for that. I think there's a really good kill in it. It's a bit wild, but there are boring parts, and I feel like the last 5 to 10 minutes of the film is completely pointless because nothing happens. And there's also a kill in the movie where it's like overdone, where our killer just keeps slashing this thing like for a long time, and I feel like better time could have been made doing something else. So In a Violent Nature, number 27 for me. Most would put that probably lower. I liked it a little bit more. Number 26 for me is going to be Don't Move. Now, this is a Netflix movie, and a lot of people really liked it. I thought it was good, but I feel like the film didn't really push the envelope much, and that was my issue with it. If it would have been a hard R with some nudity, that would have probably been a whole star more, in my opinion. But other than that, I mean, there was a character early in the movie that died that I was upset about, and I thought he would have been a good character to keep in the whole movie until the end, but he dies right away, and I was upset by that. So Don't Move is my number 26. Now, number 25 is a film that was actually at a film festival in 2023, and I believe it came on streaming in 2024. It may have came out late 2023, I don't know. But it's a French movie. It actually has subtitles. Infested. It's called Vermine or Vernine. I don't know what it's called regularly, but it's Infested for us. It's a movie that looks really good, a great cinematography. Basically, if you're afraid of spiders, don't watch Infested. Lots of spiders, a house full of spiders, or I don't remember what, building full of spiders? I don't remember. But with it being subtitled, that takes it down a notch for me. It was entertaining, so that's why Infested comes in 25th place for me. Number 24 is going to be Lisa Frankenstein. Now, this film, I had my worst theater experience, so that is a reason why it's so low. And this is a film that if I watch again, my opinion could definitely change on it. Basically, in the theater, I always sit in the back corner, whether it be the back left or the back right. Well, I was in the back left for this film. There was a group of kids in the back right corner, or in the right, somewhere in the right that I couldn't see because it was dark, and they literally were talking during the whole movie, like loud, laughing, talking. There was me, that group, which was 4 or 5 of them, and then one other couple in the theater. That was it. And they would not shut up. And then finally at one point I said, if you're going to continue talking, go out in the lobby. And then they started body shaming me and calling me lonely because I was in the theater by myself. So my experience was absolutely terrible. It was hard to concentrate on the film due to their shenanigans. But in what I did watch, it was okay. I'm not saying it's a bad film. I just was not super into it, but into it. So upon a rewatch, this could go up like 5 to 10 places. I don't know. I didn't even buy it. I haven't rewatched it, but Lisa Frankenstein is my 24th, and that is kind of why. Number 23 for me is going to be Never Let Go. This is a Halle Berry movie where her and her family is in this house, and it's like they're tethered to the house when they go out, and if they go out and they're not tethered, they're going to get killed. It was okay, but like nothing special. But I was into it a little bit, and it's an interesting idea that I haven't seen much of. Well, I haven't seen, to my recollection, I haven't seen something like this before. I'm sure there's been something that's been done like that before. Actually, what was I don't know. But it was okay, but it wasn't that special either. So Never Let Go is going to be my number 23. Number 22 for me is going to be Sting. We have something that's very close to Infested, but we have it in America where this spider gets in this apartment building, and then we get multiple spiders, and spiders galore again. I don't get, nothing phases me when I watch a movie, so I don't get bothered by any of those. But this was another film to me that was a little bit boring, where I was dozing off during the beginning of it, because it took, like the first 20 minutes were a little slow. But it was okay from what I watched of it. It wasn't anything special, so that's why I put it as my number 22. My number 21, and maybe a lot of you would put this toward the bottom, it's possible, is going to be Watchers. A film directed by M. Night Shyamalan's daughter. You have, I'm forgetting her name now. Actresses and actors' names aren't necessarily important. It'll come to me eventually, but basically you have people in the middle of the woods. They're in this like little house, shack, whatever you want to call it, and then like these creatures come out at night, or I don't know. It was weird, and maybe upon a rewatch I would like it potentially a bit more. I don't know. But, I felt like it was predictable, and wow, that name is really bothering me. It doesn't matter what her name is. It was okay, but nothing special. So that's why Watchers is my number 21. My number 22, or my number 20, I should say, is more of a thriller. It's Blink Twice. You have Channing Tatum. You have people go to this resort, and shit gets crazy. There's some hallucinogens involved. People die. I'm not really sure what happened in this film still. I'm not exactly sure. It was interesting, but nothing special or nothing that I wanted to go and rewatch again. So, Blink Twice, my number 20. Coming in at number 19, and I think a lot of you would have this a bit higher, and that's fine, is going to be Oddity. You have a wife get murdered brutally in her home, and then you have her sister who's like a telepathic or can do readings and stuff, come to the house, and then she uncovers things that happened with her murder. It was okay. It was just nothing special for me, but it's decent. It's on Shudder, so if you already have access to Shudder and don't have to pay anything to watch it, then it's a good watch. So Oddity is my number 19. Dakota Fanning is the one that's in Watchers. I just thought of it, by the way. Number 18 for me, probably one that many of you will have in your bottom 5, is going to be I.S.S. International Space Station. Basically, the premise is you have Russians and you have Americans at the space station, and the Americans get word that they need to kill the Russians, and the Russians get word that they need to kill the Americans, and then that's what the premise of the film is. I enjoyed it as a good psychological thriller. I'm not saying it's anything special, but many are very down on it, and I liked it. I even bought it. I guess I should go over the ones that I bought. So far, I bought not many. A Quiet Place Day 1, Arcadian, In a Violent Nature, and Watchers. So, and I.S.S. So those are the ones that I've bought thus far. So yeah, I liked I.S.S. It's nothing special, but a good 3 to 3.5 out of 5 for me. But that might be a little bit high for some of your tastes. Coming in 17th place, this one is kind of like a hit or miss for some people. They either love it or hate it to a degree. I'm going to go with Smile 2. I think it was good, but then in the end, you find out the stuff that you find out. It's like, oh, what was the point? Obviously, it sets it up for Smile 3 with what happened at the end. It looked good. I think the acting was good. I don't remember quite what her name was, the actress that's in it. A lot of people think she should get an Oscar or some type of like nomination for something. Whatever. That's fine. I didn't enjoy it. I liked the first Smile better. They tried to top the first Smile with too much, and it just didn't work for me. So that's why Smile 2 is my number 17. Number 16 for me is going to be Subservience. This is a Megan Fox movie. So if you saw the movie Megan from 2023, this is Megan with Megan Fox instead of like a little girl-ish AI bot. I enjoyed this one. I wish they would have pushed the envelope just a little bit more in it to make it more enjoyable, but I still enjoyed what I saw of it and, liked it. So that's why that's in number 16 for me. Number 15 is going to be Salem's Lot. Now, I don't recall if I've seen the original Salem's Lot, and some of this is cheesy, but they do push the envelope a little bit in the film, and that's what I liked. There are characters that I thought were going to survive that didn't survive, so I liked it, and some of the effects were cheesy, but, I didn't have much expectations for this, so, I wasn't expecting much. Some people really liked it. Some people said, I'm kind of in the middle of it. So that's why Salem's Lot is my number 15. All right. I think now is the point in the ranking where if you haven't done so already, you're going to cancel me. And that's fine. My number 14 is going to be Nosferatu. Now, I think the film has great performances by Johnny Depp's daughter, which I can't remember her name, so I'm going to call her Johnny Depp's daughter, Nicholas Hoult, and William Dafoe. I think it looks incredible for the most part. It's got some eerie moments in the film, so that's good. My negatives are the fact that I was a bit bored watching it. Now, I don't think the runtime is super bad, but I feel like if they shaved 10 minutes off, it would have been great. It runs 2 hours and 12 minutes, I believe, and I feel like that's a little bit too long. I also was just a bit bored watching it. I don't know why. That's just my opinion. I don't think I'll ever buy it. I don't think I'll ever rewatch it again. That's just how I feel about it. Maybe my opinion will change, but I don't know how I'll change my opinion if I don't rewatch it again. So I know a lot of people think Nosferatu is the best horror movie of the year, and one could argue it looks great, it looks immaculate, but unfortunately for me, and I scored it 3.5 out of 5 on Letterboxd, I saw one other person score it that, Haunted Hippie, and everybody else is scoring it 4.5 or 5. So maybe I'm on an island by myself here, well, with one other person, but Nosferatu, while it was good, I just wasn't super entertained by it, and that's why that's going to be 14th place for me. Coming in the 13th place for me is the third installment in the Ti West trilogy, MaXXXine. I think Mia Goth delivers again. You have a great performance by Kevin Bacon, but unfortunately for this film, I feel like it falls a little bit in the third act. We get a reveal that's not that impressive to me, and it makes the film a little less enjoyable for me. I don't know if I'll ever rewatch MaXXXine either. I did buy it, so I do have the option of rewatching it. Unless, of course, they do another installment where I'll rewatch them all in case I want to do a ranking for them. Although, franchise ranking videos, I think some of them I'm not going to do simply because I'm not that into them. I have to do something that I'm super passionate about. And the Ty West trilogy, while it's good, I'm not super passionate about it. So even if they come out with a fourth one, I don't know if I'll rank it. But it was still good. I bought it, but I just wasn't like super stoked about it. So that's why MaXXXine is my number 13. Coming in 12th place, and I think many of you will probably have it a lot lower, I put it in 12th place, and that's going to be Immaculate. It has Sydney Sweeney in it, and Sydney Sweeney has hard nipples, so that's always a plus. She plays a nun in the movie, and while it is a little bit boring at times, it is intriguing. There are some high-tension moments in it, and then you have an ending that some would say is batshit crazy. So I bought it. I don't know if I'll ever watch it again, but I was entertained by it, and that's why I put Immaculate as my number 12. Coming in 11th place for me, one of the surprises of the year that kind of came out of nowhere for me is going to be Werewolves. So you have like this night where there's like this super moon that comes out and people turn into werewolves. It's like a Purge movie with werewolves, and there's like, blood and gore and all that, so it's not like a tamed PG-13. So I was really entertained by it. Obviously it has flaws. I feel like the film could have gone another half an hour with developing some more stuff that happens at the end. You have Frank Grillo, who's also in the Purge movies, the second and the third one, and maybe the other ones after that. I don't remember. I didn't see anything after election year. So I liked that. I was intrigued by it. I was entertained by it. And that's why Werewolf, surprisingly, is my number 11. And now it's time for my top 10 horror/thrillers of 2024. And coming in 10th place for me is actually a film that I was late to the party on. This came out early in the year, and I luckily saw it toward the end of the year, and that would be Lowlifes. This is a film that's actually on Tubi, and the only thing that I'll say about it to avoid any spoilers is you have a family that travels in an RV, and they're camped out, and then you have two gentlemen that come to the RV, and they're kind of creepy. Well, they eventually leave, and then the family leaves, and then they see these two gentlemen stranded on the side of the road, and they want to get help because their vehicle's malfunctioning. So the family, which is obviously a son, a daughter, a mom, and a dad, agrees to let one of the gentlemen on the RV and take him to get help. And that's all I'm going to say about the film. I really enjoyed it. I was super into it. It's not a film that lasts too long, and I didn't know anything about it other than somebody saying it was one of the best horror films that they saw in 2024. So I watched it based off of that. I don't know what's in the trailer, but maybe watching a trailer for the film would be a bad idea. So that's why Lowlifes is my number 10. Coming in 9th place for me, and this is one that's super divisive. People either hate it or love it. In my opinion, went slightly lower on it, but I still like it a lot. And I'm talking about Trap. A film directed by M. Night Shyamalan that stars Josh Hartnett. He takes his daughter to this concert, and which is the person that the concert is M. Night Shyamalan's daughter. And during the concert, there's something else going on where they know that a serial killer is at this concert somehow, some way, and they're trying to capture him. I think Josh Hartnett did a phenomenal job. I think it's really entertaining. I don't really have many gripes, just the second time watching it. I didn't like it as much. So it went down a couple spots for me. But other than that, I really enjoy Trap, and that's why that's my number 9. Coming in 8th place for me is going to be Longlegs. A really low-budget movie that has Nicolas Cage as a serial killer. So it's like a crime drama. It's a bit wild, but it also is a bit slow. Now, this maybe should be a couple spots lower, but I put it as my number 8 because it was pretty good, and everybody else seems to really love Longlegs. But I liked it. I don't want to say much about it to avoid any type of spoilers, but that's why that's my number 8. Lucky number 7 for me is going to be the ballerina vampire movie Abigail, which stars Melissa Barrera, Catherine Newton, Kevin Durand, and Giancarlo Esposito, who was Gus Fring on Breaking Bad. You have a bunch of random people put in this house to get this girl, but we find out that this girl is a vampire ballerina, and it does have a lot of gore. It's really entertaining. I liked it. It's just other movies were more memorable. I bought Abigail, but have yet to rewatch Abigail, and that's saying something about it. Had I rewatched this by now, I'd probably put it 1 or 2 spots higher. But as it stands right now, Abigail is my number 7. Coming in 6th place for me is going to be Strange Darling. You have Kyle Gallner and Willa Fitzgerald, who was the star of the Scream TV show series, and that's all I'm going to say about it. Don't watch a trailer, just watch it looking for something interesting to watch. So that's why Strange Darling is my number 6. Coming in 5th place for me is going to be Speak No Evil. Now, this film specifically was a film that I saw the trailer for about 6 months, nonstop. And I absolutely hated seeing that trailer every movie I went to for a long period of time, to the point where I had no intentions of seeing Speak No Evil at all. Then some YouTubers that are pretty popular gave their review of it and gave it high praise. So I'm like, all right, fine. So there's one day I went to see it with another movie, and I watched it, and I was actually really impressed. James McAvoy does a phenomenal job, and it's a thriller, but it has horror elements as well. And I was quite surprised that I actually liked Speak No Evil, so that's why that's my number 5. In 4th place for me, the film that I saw on the same day as Speak No Evil is Heretic. This is a Hugh Grant horror movie where he's trying to teach these two people about religion and making them choose their path. And it's psychological horror for sure. It's got some good moments in it. It's got some places that it goes that are interesting. And it really opens your eyes and opens your mind about the whole thing that's going on here. So that's why Heretic is my number 4. Now we've reached the final 3. And these final 3 I did have to rewatch because I liked them all a lot. So it was a tough decision. Coming in 3rd place for me is going to be Alien Romulus. This film made me rewatch all the Alien films, even the ones that I hadn't seen yet. And I really liked Romulus. I'm a big fan of Fede Alvarez as a director, and this really worked. But in my opinion, the other 2 films remaining are just more memorable. But Romulus was awesome, and I'm happy to say that it was one of my favorite titles of the year. Coming in 2nd place for me, and this was another tough decision because I wanted to give this one number 1. But 2nd place for me is going to be Terrifier 3. You have a great performance by Lauren Lavera. You have Art the Clown, amazing in this. You have lots of comedy. You have Christmas horror. You have a fun-filled movie that makes you laugh, makes you scream, makes you cry. Not me necessarily, but normal people. And I really liked Terrifier 3. Most would say they like Terrifier 2 more. But 3 is the perfect length. It doesn't do too much. And it leaves more questions that can be answered in another Terrifier film. So that's why Terrifier 3 is my number 2. And now there can only be one. My favorite horror/thriller of 2024 is without a shadow of a doubt the wildest, craziest, and from out of nowhere film that I've ever seen, The Substance. You have Demi Moore, Dennis Quaid, and Margaret Qualley. And the premise of this is you have a fading celebrity take a black market drug, which is a cell-replicating substance that temporarily creates a younger, better version of herself. This shit's crazy. If you like body horror, if you like female nudity, this is the film for you. And hey, Demi Moore, she may be older, but goddamn, she looks good for her age, and I'll give her credit for doing what she did in this particular film. But it's wild how the film looks, how it's filmed, there's just so many things that go right. Now, I will say the last scene of the movie, the last act, so to speak, they fell off a bit for me. But man, everything that we got before that was phenomenal. The how they show what's happening, the music that they choose in this, it's just a crazy film that came out of nowhere. I didn't hear about The Substance until it hit theaters, and I'm glad I actually went out of my way to go see it because this was a wild ride. As much as I liked Terrifier 3 and Alien Romulus, I mean, The Substance just does so many things different than them. They push the envelope, and it's wild. So that is my favorite horror/thriller of 2024. So again, I already said this earlier, but if you're a fan of ranking movies, if you like horror movies, if you like physical media, or Dexter, or UFC fight reactions, and you want to help me out with the YouTube algorithm, please consider Hulk smashing the like button, share this video with a friend, put this video on any one of your social media platforms. Don't forget to sound off in the comments section about what your thoughts are. Are you happy with my choice of The Substance? I mean, you have to have that high in your list. Anybody that has The Substance low, I don't know. I get everybody's entitled to their own opinion, but The Substance is absolutely phenomenal. Let me know your ranking, at least of the horror/thrillers that you've seen, or whatever ranking that you want to do in the comment section. Again, I put the list of everything that I did in the description. Let me know your thoughts. What movies are you looking forward to in 2025? I will have a video on that coming up the first week of January, along with my TV show seasons that I'm looking forward to in 2025. Remember to come back to the channel for Dexter Original Sin reviews, Dexter Resurrection reviews. I'll put my entire movie collection video will be uploaded on January 1st, so not much longer to wait for that. I'll do my entire movies I've seen in 2024 for New Year's Eve. And then, of course, last but certainly not least, don't forget to hit that sub button. You're watching the video anyway. Subscribe to the channel, join the team, show your damn support, and be a part of something special. And you never know what you're going to see on JDev TV.